What's up TBT gang, this is Arunav and welcome to the Bro Thing, your favorite spot for all the pickup and dating related information. So today I want to talk about approach anxiety and how you can overcome it. We got some questions regarding this and I thought I would get back to the community with my opinions on this. Now, I've been gaming for about 8 years in different parts of the world, and this is the most common issue everyone faces. From Budapest to Bangalore, I've seen people and I've spoken to people who are telling me that their city or their country is not the best place to approach. And I'm like, seriously, Budapest, that's the best place to do pickup. Now, in the pickup community, approach anxiety is referred to something as a disease. However, it's just basic anxiety that you're going to feel once you're approaching someone because of your social conditioning. Now, I still do have approach anxiety, but the difference is how I deal with it. Every exercise I'm going to tell you over here is going to help you train your mind and reaffirm that belief that nothing wrong is going to happen once you do the approach. Think of it as a gym. Once you do a rep, it's a step towards the higher weight. Similarly, once you do an approach, it should be strengthening your core beliefs. Fundamentally, if you're doing game for yourself and not for the woman, you should be scared of not approaching than approaching. Now, there are a few ways how you can completely get over your approach anxiety. Now, one of them is the 3-second rule, which I personally used a lot when I was really facing that AA. Now, that rule implies that once you see a girl, you approach her. You don't give your mind the time to get bullshit excuses. Also, a lot of people have really high expectations and high criteria for what a good approach is. Now, if you're one of those people who want to roll up like James Bond or something, who's waiting for the right moment to approach, there's no point because you will never approach. Once you lower your criteria and your expectations for a good approach, it releases a lot of stress and anxiety. All you gotta do is the bare minimum. Just walk up to a girl and say, hey. Another way is baby stepping towards the approach. Now, if you're at a bar, what is the next step to take? You just see a girl. What is the next step? You walk towards her. What is the next step? You blurt out a sound. What is the next step? You say something. You ask her name. So just keep on focusing on the next step when you're at a venue. Now, a lot of people cannot even approach because they can't think of a good opener, and it happens way too often. Now, the thing is, if you can't think about an opener, just use some cramped lines or some routines.
Excuse me guys, seconds. Are you from Bangalore? We're actually searching for a good after party place in Bangalore. And we have no clue because it's our first week over here.
People don't party around or what?
I've heard they do a lot.
Where are you from? Jaipur. You work here? Is it 9 to 5 like an engineer? Damn, that's sad. Did you enjoy?
Now, there are some things that I personally use in my game till this date in the field. So what I personally do is I go for the hardest sets first. And what it does for me is it removes a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and it reaffirms the belief that even if I approach, nothing bad is going to happen.
I'm so sorry. I know I'm acting like an asshole and I'm hard to talk to. Answer me. I know it's too awkward to and I'm with my friends. And it's really hard. What's your name? Arunav. Nice to meet you.
Now, another thing I use in my game is the initial sets of the night I go in to get rejected. Now, a lot of times these sets have been the best sets, and the reason is because I have no fear of rejection and I have no outcome dependency. Also, in my game I try to inculcate a lot of non-verbal openers as well, and the reason for that is because in a club or in a nighttime environment where the energy and the music is high, a non-verbal opener is way more effective than a verbal opener. Also, it helps me work on my sub-communications and make them even more stronger.
It's going down!
Another way to get out of your head when you are in the field is to just approach guys in the field. Now, I've made a lot of connections, a lot of friends, and I know a lot of high value people just by approaching men in the field.
What's up, man? How's it going? Nice suit, buddy. Pretty good. I've seen you a couple of times, man. I've seen you a couple of times. You partied a couple of times. I might not remember you.
You can also try progressive desensitization, which means after every approach, you should feel better than the previous one. It should take you a step further. For example, if you go and get rejected from a girl, and then you go the next time and you get rejected, you'll feel a bit less uncomfortable. So if you keep on repeating the approaches, after a while, there would be no fear in you. Now, in my 5 years of teaching experience, I've also noticed a lot of approach anxiety happens because of incompetence. Because a lot of people don't know what to do after the approach. Hence, they're scared shitless even before the approach. So, if that's the case with you, you can take one of our mentorship programs or bootcamp where we can personally assist you come over your approach anxiety. Because the more you know what to do, the less worried you're going to be about other stuff. Now, in my game, I also use a lot of indirect openers if I'm not feeling like it. I'll just go and ask, hey, do you know this place? Or hey, do you know any good places for for an after party. However, let me just tell you, there's a lot of ruckus created around indirect and direct openers, but it really does not matter because something indirect can be said in a really direct way. Now, another big issue that I've seen in a lot of students is when they're approaching, they're completely half-hearted towards the approach. It's like they're being pushed to do the approach. And if that's the case with you, then the girl will reject you because she can see through that facade. So my personal advice would be, if you're doing it, give it your 100%. During the day, I personally feel it's better to approach the girl in a more socially acceptable way. However, in night, you can do all sorts of approaches. If your intensity and the vibe is right, the approach will work. I have also made a video about 4 types of approaches, and do check it out if you want to dive deep into this topic. Also, a lot of people put tabs on the number of approaches they're going to do in a specific period of time. One thing you have to understand is, first, most approaches can last longer. Second, these type of goals actually put you into a lot of anxiety and stress. Also, don't be the kind of person who goes to the field and who does 0 approaches. Use your common sense. If you're not putting a minimum tab, doesn't mean you're not going to do any approaches. So guys, don't get stuck between direct and indirect openers. Use what you feel like at that moment because congruency plays a big part. Now, I've given you all the tips and hacks that you require for successfully opening. But I know there's still people out there who still have some irrational fears, and if you're one of those people, do not waste your time thinking about the approach. Just sign up for a bootcamp or a mentorship program where we can personally help you and assist you on whatever issues that you're facing. On that note, this is Arunav from the Bro Thing signing off. Until next time.